Hi, today I'm going to be doing a deep dive into Afrobubble. Afrobubble is an NFT collection of 5,400 pieces, and there was a pre-sale done already, and this pre-sale sold 1,800 pieces. Now, there's going to be a public sale on the 20th of November, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at what Afrobubble is all about. I'm going to be looking at the team. I'm going to be looking at the utility. I'll be looking at the structure, and I'm going to be looking at what I call the X factor, which really is present in most NFTs. Now, Afrobubble has a very lovely looking website, and this is what it looks like when you come down to the second aspect of it. It talks about the structure and a very nicely put together story. It talks about Afrobubble Kingdom, and it says, after the Machenda occurred, a prophecy was revealed that one Bob will rise from the ashes to unite the nine clans. Now, these nine clans are very instrumental in the way Afrobubble is structured. And if you go down here, you can see the artwork. I love the artwork. It looks minimalist. It's a number of lines. It reminds me of what Picasso would have done. Well, I'm not comparing this to Picasso, but I particularly love it. And it's very different from most of the stuff I see in the NFT space at this point. So I'm not sure about this price because this I'm not sure if this is what the price will be, because this is what it was for the actual pre-sale. And well, since they've not changed it, I assume that this is what it is going to be. So it's going to 0.845 SOL on the 20th of November. So this is the actual roadmap, and it's done very nicely by way of a book you can flip through, and you can see what the timeline looks like. The timeline has the pre-sale, which has been done, the public mint, which we are at, airdrop. Well, I think this is to airdrop particular pieces of the weaponry that you can get, and you understand why you need weapons. I know it's all about war coming, so it's quite interesting. You know, if you go to the Discord, they do a lot of competitions among the nine clans, and these competitions, within these competitions you can actually win prizes, but I should tell you a bit more about that in a second. Now let's go to the team, and this is the team. You see, these are the four core members of the team. There's Ven, there's Fizz, there's Gem, and there's Toy. These guys are all doxed, thankfully, because what tends to happen sometimes in the NFT space, you don't really know who you're dealing with because they're not doxed. They have these images, NFT images on the website, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is an image, but who are you? But these guys are all doxed, because if you click on these links, they'll probably take you to their Twitter pages, I think, all of them. But more importantly, this guy did an interview, and I found the interview on YouTube, and this is the interview here, where these two guys, this is Ven, and this is which one of them? This is Gem, yeah, Ven and Gem, yeah. I know they kind of look alike, don't they? When you look at the images they've put together themselves. But I'll leave a link down below, and you can come and watch this. And just pretty insightful and pretty interesting, because they talked extensively about what the structure of Afrobubble will be like and how they see it going forward. And for me, this brought up a number of very, very interesting aspects, and why I think that this is different to some of the other NFTs, quite a number of the NFTs out there on Solana blockchain. So this is the website, and you can come and have a look at it. What I will put below is the link tree, and the link tree shows you all the aspects of how to get in contact with Afrobubble, or what to look for in terms of Afrobubble. So you have the Discord, the Instagram page, the YouTube channel, which is another interesting factor, and obviously the Twitter and the marketplace, and Afro creator artists list your art on the Afro marketplace. This is how Afro creators or other artists can list their art on the marketplace, on the Afro marketplace. Right. This leads me nicely into the utility aspect. So now you know what the team is. Let's talk a bit about utility. And I put together a bit of a diagram because I wanted to understand exactly what was going on. So what this diagram shows, I know I haven't labeled it fully, but that is the queen, and these are the nine clans that they spoke about, and you can see they're all divided. Now below this is what I would deem the utility, for the lack of a better word. It consists of the Metaverse, music and tourism, marketplace, launchpad, Afrobeat tokens, comic and animation, the ecosystem, and within the marketplace I have underneath art and merchandise. So these are methods by which I believe that they would like to create utility. So let me just walk through some of them with you for a start. The ecosystem. From what I heard from the interview, this consists of the brand and how they're going to interlink with other brands. Now they've already shown how this is going to work with the public launch, because their prices, if you go to their Discord, you can see prices that they've actually set up. And this one of these prices, interestingly, is if you get a certain number of NFTs or bobs as they call them, you'll be entitled to go on a trip. You'll be given a trip to a location, a tourist trip. And what they have done is that is actually paid by a partnership they have already. So you can see that a lot of the parts of the roadmap that they're talking about are already beginning to take an active part in the structure and the community. And going forward, I think this is what you get if you actually own a Bob or you are within the Afrobubble community or DAO. The DAO is very interesting because it is structured very, very differently to many of the ones I've seen. And this structure of the 9 different clans actually forms 9 separate DAOs from what I actually listened to them say. The DAOs, these 9 different DAOs make the DAO in general. And one thing that seems to be very important with this community is the fact that they work on consensus a lot. So when they did the first pre-sale, there was a discussion about whether or not they should go to the secondary market. And the DAO said to themselves, no, let's wait a bit and let's see how things go. And let's put in a bit of flavor into the community. And so what they've done is that they've started running all kinds of different competitions within the Discord, and prizes are given out, and they are consolidating aspects of the 9 different clans. And the 9 different clans themselves, when they actually go into these competitions, they actually win prizes. And below you can see, I don't know if you can see this clearly, they have three different kinds of blue chip NFTs within the DAO itself. And this is not just for the competition, this actually adds utility to the token going forward, because what tends to happen with NFTs is that they buy into blue chip NFTs because they know that these blue chip NFTs will begin to gain value over time. So what happens is that if you have in your vault a number of blue chip NFTs, this stands aside from the utility, because of the appreciation of these blue chip NFTs, it actually works to inject funds into the actual DAO and helps to stabilize the token. So this is one of the methods by which they are actually working to create utility for the token. But it is not just put in a vault like many people do. What it is used for, it is used in competition. So each of these DAOs, or each of these separate clans, which are DAOs themselves, can actually win any of these prizes. Now, what happens is that each of these DAOs will then function as a separate entity within the structure of the Afrobubble community. They can compete against each other, but they can use the utility they have for projects. And so you can imagine that this is a DAO in itself that has 9 different DAOs, and each DAO has the utility or the capacity to carry out different kinds of functions within itself. So this strengthens the Afrobubble 9 times. If one DAO fails, 8 others will continue, and that means that the DAO will continue to exist. And this utility can be used in so many different ways. I hear it can be used for charity or for projects, because going forward they can decide, each and every member of these clans, of these 9 clans, can decide that they want to go forward and start a project separately. So it's quite an interesting structure. Now, coming back to utility, the Afrobubble NFT itself is also going to be instrumental in a marketplace. And interestingly or not, they've already put together a structure for the marketplace. And I'm not sure whether the secondary NFT will be sold on the marketplace when it comes out. But what is very, very evident is from what they said in the interview is that they're going to have a method by which Afro-inspired artists can come and put stuff on there. I mean, I can draw a bit. Maybe I should, chuck my hat in and see if they'll kind of like put something on there. But in all seriousness, it's quite an interesting concept, because what this means is, once again, any art sold here, obviously the process will go to the artist, but the percentage will come to the DAO. And once again, this will help with the tokenomics and the utility of the tokens. The other thing which is fantastic is the launchpad. The launchpad, I think, is a very good idea. Now, it's not a new idea. There are many NFT structures that actually have the launchpad. What the launchpad will do is, if an artist wants to launch their own NFT, which could be a daunting process and one that will require some technical ability, they can actually come here and launch their own NFTs. And now that would benefit in a number of ways, or could benefit in a number of ways. When you see initial offerings go out with many of the, at least the different kinds of products in cryptocurrency or in the crypto space. There's something called an OTC, and what happens is that initially, when the OTC goes out, people who are investors will get very cheap tokens or tokens free. And if the project does well, the tokens begin to rise. And then what happens is that utility comes to the DAO itself. So that could be one of the ways by which they will profit from this. But the other way by which they can actually profit from this is creating a structure by which other artists or they have a huge community or a huge range of talent to draw from, because what happens is that the ecosystem that they actually create will have different kinds of skill sets. Now, talking about ecosystem, I spoke to you about the branding and how they were going to join up with different brands to create different strategic partnerships. This is also one of the ways by which they can actually grow their ecosystem. Right, I've talked to you about the marketplace, but I've not shown you what the marketplace looks like. So let's go here and have a look at what the marketplace looks like. It's not finished as of yet, but I think it's actually on its way to being launched. So you have 11 days. So this is what it's going to look like. And you can, it says join a Discord, but it says in 11 days, 19 hours, 25 minutes, that this is going to be launched. And obviously you'll have different kinds of products. Now on the marketplace, or in the marketplace itself, I think if you go back to this diagram, you'll have art and might also have merchandise, because if you look at the Twitter page, it seems to me that they have some merchandise in terms of t-shirts and things like that. But let's see how it goes in terms of the structure of what they want to do with the merchandise. That probably will come a bit later. Now, the tokens that they talked about in that video were the tokens called Afrobeat tokens. It's a nice name because it links in very nicely to music. Now, they also talking about bringing in artists, music artists, and I'm not sure because there has been no indication as of yet. But I think this is a very clever move because of influencer-led movements, or the visibility of the brand, or the visibility of the NFTs with music artists. When you tie in, it's a very potent mix, because once somebody of note gets to rock the NFT, like I think Jay-Z had a CryptoPunk at one time, and you see celebs all the time just rocking different NFTs, because this really works in terms of pushing forward the NFT brand or the NFT itself. So what it seems like is going to happen is they'll have collaborations with different musicians, and I think a community of musicians that actually exist within the Afrobeat space, which actually is having a bit of a huge push right now in world music. So I think these are areas that they will explore into later. Now, one area which is already being worked on is they will have, at least from what they said, that they'll have animations made and they'll have a comic series. And the comic series will be running for 4 years, they said, and there'll be 96 comics, or I think 96 episodes, and you can break it down. So I think every month there'll be two comics every month. How does the math work? Well, you can do it yourself anyway, but this is how it's going to be structured. And I think all of this will actually bring utility within the NFT structure. So one thing we can actually look at here is we can go to this and we can go to the Twitter page. And when we look at the Twitter page, you can see that they've already started working on animation. So if you come down here and you click on this, you can watch what the animation looks like. And this is what their Twitter page looks like. So they are running a competition as well to create a vision of what Queen Amina looks like. That's the queen that's this queen in the story. I don't know. Yeah, I think this is the image they use of the queen. And what they are doing is that various artists are submitting all kinds of different ideas, and these ideas might be the first of which might put on the marketplace for people to actually buy, because what happens is that people get to vote, and if you like it, you can win a prize. Whoever wins the competition, gets a number of prizes. But that's all talked about. Now you can see some of the artwork on here, and it's interesting because there's so many ways in which they can go. I think this is Iron Man, and you can see some of the artwork. I just think the artwork is really nice, and it's in the way it's actually utilized to go, and create different images. So that's Iron Man, and that is Black Panther, and that's Doctor Strange. You can see what I said with the lines. It's quite unique in the way it's actually structured. So I believe that this is going to be a very interesting project, and I think that it's one that you should really look at because of all the utility that seems to be created in relation to the structure of the 9 clans and the way that that works. The other thing I was going to talk to you about is what I call the X factor. And the X factor with NFTs is that if the project is well managed, and it looks like it is because the team looks like they actually understand what they are doing in terms of the structure, as I showed you in the image I put up, what you find out is that initially what will happen will be there will be some kind of push because a number of people will begin to know about it, at least the early adopters. But as they begin to ensure that a number of the projects are put in place, what happens is that the expansion of the NFT begins to grow and the utility begins to multiply. And if you're holding one of these at the very beginning when it's very cheap and when a lot of the structures have been put in place, what tends to happen is that as things go forward, you find out that the value of your NFT begins to rise. So I'll say that this is definitely one you should look at, you should look into. It is quite a unique project, I think, and as I've shown the structure, and I'll definitely be jumping on board when the public sale comes up. I hope you like my video. Please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and click on the notification bell, so that when more videos like this come out, you'll be able to see them. Have a good day. Bye.